Quiet on the set. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Gosh, my glasses got stuck in my headset. But anyway, welcome to Mondays with Myrt, where we talk about pretty much anything and everything that's come across our genealogy in the last 2 weeks since last we met. We got a lot of interesting topics to handle today, jam-packed agenda, but I do want to mention that here in the United States, we honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Um, when I initially created this graphic, honoring the International Decade for People of African Descent, which expired in 2024. This is a UN initiative. I decided to put people from all walks of life, different beautiful, beautiful skin tones, age groups, etc., because all are welcome here. That is especially important in this day and age of late, more so than ever. Let me bring up this from the Smithsonian. I'm going to share my screen. 1 second, and then we'll see who's out there watching us today. Okay, so turn that off and turn this one on. Okay, zooming in. You know, I tend to think of the I Have a Dream speech. But I especially like this post today. Okay, we're going to cry today too, I guess. Oh, Bart. But I was thinking of it from, tenderly, they've shared these photos. This is a Smithsonian post on Facebook where the pictures of a dad and his kids at the dinner table. Very, very precious things. These are things we all hold dear. And we're not forgetting Dr. King. And today we honor him. Okay, so let's see who's here on the panel today. We've got a newbie. Well, he's not new to the world of genealogy. He's not new among genealogy content producers, family historians. Bill Moore, welcome as a regular panelist to Mondays
Thank
with
you.
Myrt. Thank you. And as we got talking, we found out that we have ancestors who were in the same 19th Indiana Company K unit at Gettysburg on day one, and we have more to tell in the future. So, Bill, welcome. We're glad to have you. Hillary, our gal in Wales, is here, and you're leaving early, aren't you, for your DNA class?
Yes, I've got homework on Mondays, so I've
Okay.
been doing some clustering this week. Not
Okay.
very successfully, I don't think, but we'll see.
Okay. So we're always learning and growing. This is good. And Ellen, your headset, your new
Yeah,
headset.
it works great.
Oh, so glad. And Miles, you're no longer the newbie around here. We're so glad to have you. How's the weather there in Florida?
For us, it's very cold. It was in the 30s this morning. It's up to about 45 right now.
And that's difficult. Yeah, I
Well,
see we still have,
yeah, especially when you only have shorts and a t-shirt.
and for those flip-flops. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And you're having to fiddle a lot with your mic because it picks up me when I'm speaking. Of course, you should only have to listen to me, right? Yeah. And then Leave is here today, and we're going to have a very interesting discussion with you. But let's hear your mic, Leave, our gal in
Yep.
Norway.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you beautifully. And
We
we're
had
going
just old snow here today.
It snowed? Well, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
It's Norway, and
Yeah.
it's wintertime in the northern hemisphere. So, is it snowing, Frank, over there in Germany?
No, actually not.
Ah, okay.
It
Interesting.
all melted away, I think, last week.
And I think of it as Germany as just you're snowed in. So that's interesting. But actually where you are is very close to, if you follow the globe around, um, Pennsylvania and New York. You
Yeah.
don't have to. It's about that longitude or latitude. Yeah. Yeah. And our regular guy in the great state of California is Randy. Welcome. How's your family doing? Those grandkids are getting tall, aren't they?
They are, and I'm getting to see 3 of them today,
Yay!
and we'll celebrate Christmas finally. Yeah.
I know. That's a big adjustment when we get to be a certain age and they have their projects and their schedules, and we are happy for days we can get together. Let's see who's out there on the YouTube side. So hi Becky, Southeast Michigan, windy and cold. Hello, Miriam. Yeah, no snow on the ground. I thought you would have. We get completely different weather. Miriam's on the opposite side of the state of Washington from old Myrt here, and of course we're kept warm by the Japanese current and the waters around us. But yeah, you get snow. That's for sure. Let's see who else is here. Gwenny's here. There's so many folks suffering sinuses, the flu. The flu is pretty it's spreading. I can't say the word ver
Very
never mind. Yeah, I can't say that word today. Yeah. But she's having a very slow doing her genealogy, trying to figure out where you left off in November. Before the digital age, we would just spread out all our genealogy paperwork on the dining room table, but we'd have to kind of pick it up, put it away. I hear you. Good luck. Some really good work is going on at Legacy Family Tree webinars. Very much worth your education dollars to subscribe, because then you have access to all the handouts. Okay. Let's see where else. Gosh, there's so many people here. Hi, Barbara. Oh, this is our Barbara, who is going to be joining us later on the panel. She's our secret guest, Barbara at Project Kin. Wonder what we're going to talk about. Valerie's doing photo editing now that her new computer is setting up, but her wind chill is minus 22. Okay, we're doing one-upmanship in the freezing cold department. Yeah, I don't know why you moved to the frozen tundra. Come on down. Anyway, okay. Somebody's in Sarasota, and I used to live in Bradenton, and one of my dearest friends used to volunteer at the Sarasota Family. They'd now call it a Family Search Center. Hello, Arkansas, very cold. Let's see, Becky's here. Another Norwegian. How do we pronounce her beautiful first name, Leave?
Laila.
Okay. So I always get confused, and I always just call her my dear friend from Norway because I don't want to mispronounce her name. But Lila, I can do it. Okay. And Janet, so good to see you up there from Ontario. Snow on the ground, blizzard warning. We may have to put another log on the fire, Mr. Myrt, so we can huddle together here on Mondays with Myrt. I can't even say hello to everybody. Well, there's the world's greatest neighbor. We both moved away, though, from the old neighborhood. Yeah. Bev is here. Mona is here. Thank you for being here. Melinda is here. She's got that crescent wrench, so she and Sherry are moderating on the YouTube side, keeping you guys in order. Tony's here from Ireland. John's here from Ohio. Uh, quite a few people. Calgary. The Canadian contingent is strong here. Let's see. Anything else? Karen is here. Somebody flew to Jacksonville. Flew from Jacksonville where it was so cold you put on your Colorado puffer the whole time you were there. Yeah, North Florida is a lot different from Gulf Coast, Sarasota, Bradenton, and south. By the time you get to Bradenton, you're the semi-subtropics, and then Fort Myers, you're in the subtropic climate zone. Yeah. That's okay, Kathleen. We're glad to have you come any old time. And Robin is here saying, big fan of Bill Moore. So glad to see him join you. And Robin, if you're going to be at RootsTech live, I hope to see you on at lunch again on Tuesday in our hotel room. Yeah. Anyway, all best to you, Robin. Okay, so has my special guest arrived yet? No. So let's switch gears. Kyla says manage the time zone difference. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch gears, and I'm going to ask everyone except Barbara. I'll bring Barbara up, but have everyone else go to the wings. Let's talk about RootsTech since I happened to bring it up. And I'd like to hear from those of you in the community, those of you on the YouTube side, if you're planning to be virtual for RootsTech 2026 or be there in person. Okay, Frank, can you move everybody for me? Thank you. It doesn't really matter if you're there in person or virtually attending RootsTech. There is whoops, we still need Barbara here. Okay, it's all good. We still learn so much by attending at RootsTech. And I'm so thankful for technology. That's the whole point, was to have a gathering where we could discover innovative new technologies that the people at BYU or guy off the street have dreamed up in the last year. You have been to RootsTech in person, Barbara, at Project Kin.
I have.
But
I have indeed.
The last 2 years, and now for the third year, you're going to do something very useful. Talk to me about that.
Well, thank you. Again, it's a privilege to be here, a privilege to be here again and amid this amazing community. And again, welcome Bill Moore, very active in my little pond. And I appreciate the support for the reinforcing the idea of sky bridges interconnecting our different platforms. As for RootsTech, yes, I was at RootsTech in my very first time was in 2020 to be there as a vendor. And then after that for 3 years as a vendor remotely. But for my first rounds as Project Kin, I realized I wanted to be there, but there was something else really amazing happening out here in, as you say, the wings. And I wanted to create a way for us to connect to each other, even just among ourselves out here in the wings, but also with our friends who were on site. Hello, Robin, I see you, and you, and Kyla, and Bill, all of whom were on site last year. So we started a live streaming was new on Substack. So I started doing live streaming with folks, and you can find all of that on our RootsTech page. And we'll be building on that again this year. That post I dropped this weekend to basically said, yes, let's do it again. And thank you, Bill and Kyla, for your enthusiasm of your own live stream last week. This year, one really important thing was to realize it's not about me. So I'm making this a completely open ride along. Go ahead, do your post, do your enthusiasm, then tell me about it. And I will help to celebrate that with what amounts to a clearinghouse. I'm creating a page, and I'm going to create a way for people to tell me about what they're doing and pop it into that page so that we could all see it and go follow each other and share what we're doing. And I rather expect that'll spawn a whole lot of separate conversations, which is kind of the point. Probably discoveries of cousins who were all there at Gettysburg or something else, right?
I can't believe out of all the genealogy hangouts that Bill and I would end up on the same panel when his guy was holding the flag in that first day of battle at Gettysburg during the American Civil War. So yeah, Kathy can't wait. Let's see. So those of us at RootsTech hardly know what we're doing because it's so big and there's so many places to go and people to see and exhibits to take in and to learn from. Somebody's saying they hope to go to RootsTech, but not sure if life events will allow it today. I hear you, Maria, but I want my hug, so get up there. No, I understand. A lot of people are attending virtually. And the clearinghouse, as you call it, the ride-along, and I think have we shared that link, Randy? Possibly we have. It's the chat's going by so quickly, I can't keep up with everything. Anyway, yeah, I understand reality, like needing to have air conditioning in California. Yeah, I understand priorities. Marcia's going to be there virtually. And correction on my latitude, longitude and latitude and all that.
Specs.
So yeah, Edmonton's quite a bit north of me, but back to our topic. I'm sorry. You know, I'd be, in the movie Up, where the dogs are squirrel. I'm kind of like that today. Anyway, yeah. So, the cool thing about it, I mean, I know that having this clearinghouse where people that are there and want to send a picture, want to send a post, want to send a 2-minute interview, whatever it is, to share the experience they're having at RootsTech. My view of we were at RootsTech that year that you came. Mr. Myrt and I were there, but it was so big, we did not see each other. It's so big when you have 6 to 8 to 10,000 people in the main hall, sitting down to watch the keynote, and then everybody disperses and goes elsewhere. And the hallways are already crowded with people who chose not to go sit in for the keynote, but to listen to it virtually on their mobile devices. Last year, I was worried about internet access, wasn't I? Talk to me about what ended up happening. It's not bad.
No, actually, I think it's a cautionary tale and a reminder for everyone, everywhere, all the time, is that don't count on the network to be there and plan for a backup. It's kind of like the way you plan for your hard drive and your computer. We have to always anticipate the backups. And these days, thankfully, the cell access is often nearly as fast as the local Wi-Fi service. However, we were delighted by a major upgrade that had happened the year in between at the Crystal Palace, and we did not really
Salt
have
Palace?
other than
Salt
Palace. Thank you,
Yeah.
Salt Palace. That we had a little bit of crowd noise, but that's to be expected, and really some very clear live streams. And in fact, a live stream from Substack is only about the same as FaceTime. So it's not terribly demanding of bandwidth, and yet it can still work remarkably well.
It helps with Google Fibers there in downtown Salt Lake City. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's a very big structure. Okay, so that looks like we've got a couple of, I wish you could be there in person too. I need my hug from you, my dear, and give one back. It's all good. So a tip. Now, Randy, let me pull you up because he's posting as Dear Myrtle Archive. It's all I can do to be nice and get our pictures up on the screen. Let me pull you up. Talk to me about your suggestion for foreign attendees.
That was Tony that,
Oh, Tony said that?
Tony Proctor.
Okay.
Yeah. Tony said that and someone copied it. So,
Okay. So foreign attendees, change the page to English as well as your own language so that you can see the English talks, which are sadly hidden otherwise. Yeah, I do think RootsTech has done a pretty good job trying to reach out by having area hosts, like for South America, or for Latin America or etc. But it's all good. So I will be cross posting and giving the link to your ride along, and where it is found will definitely be distributed to my folks, because I want I want people to learn, and I want us to grow, and you're providing a really good service. So guys, keep in mind the RootsTech Ride-Along for 2026. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Let's switch gears a little bit here, and let me change things up. And my other guest hasn't arrived yet. Cool karma. Well, that's always nice. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing the link. Um, I was out of commission, but not because of ill health or anything like that. And Barbara, you are welcome to stay on the panel and be opinionated. Your cat and my cat are vying for our attention, I can tell. All right. I want to take the question of the day. Let's do that and pull everybody up. Oh, Claire's here. Hi, Claire. And our question of the day is interesting because there have been some enhancements. Go ahead. Thank you, Frank, for bringing them up. And I'm going to ask Hillary first because she's leaving. She's leaving us for her class. Imagine that. So our question of the day is, how reliable are you finding AI transcriptions? And Miles, you need to mute yourself, dear, I think. Yeah. You and I need to have a one-on-one so we can figure out your sound better. And Claire and Miles are in the same spot, in the same house. I love it. Okay. So how are you reacting to the integrated full text search at Family Search, the integrated full text search at Ancestry? I do think, parenthetically, because I'm opinionated, that it's a good idea for a website to have their own AI, because we tend to go with the friends, the people we are accustomed to, and as opposed to suddenly having to go, what's Anthropic? What's Perplexity? What version of Chat GPT are we on? Kind of a thing. Now, if you take classes and study it like Randy does, I take the classes and then do not nearly as much work with AI. Yeah. Let's start with Randy. You're pretty big in using AI, but you were the first one of my friends that made breakthroughs with AI at Family Search. What's your take on all this stuff going on?
well, for transcriptions, you want to talk about transcriptions, right?
Mm-hmm. Full text search, yeah.
So full text search, and now Ancestry is doing some of that. We'll be doing some of that too. But full text search has matured as the technology has grown, and now but the transcriptions are essentially the same. I have some problems with it. I do at least one a week and sometimes more transcriptions, mainly of deeds and probates, and they've been the ones in secretary hand from the 1600s and 1700s are more difficult than the ones in 1800s. But I did some 1770, 1780 today, and weeks past that were perfectly clear.
Okay.
It's all in the clerk and how their penmanship is, and how the spacing is on the page. They don't have interlinings, and there's all these potential problems. But full text search doesn't do line by line. Okay, so I copy the text from the transcription into a blog post, and then I compare that to the image line by line, and edit the text in my blog post. So
where necessary. I'm having to do that as well, because the full text search that I was working with at Family Search, in the margin, there's information to just let you know it was a quitclaim deed on this estate. Well, that all gets driven or connected as if it was a sentence going across with the body of the transcript, and that messes it up.
Page
But
numbers. I've seen recently last names being duplicated. John Brown, and it would read John Brown, but the text was John Brown.
Don't know why that
interlinings at all, where they've been, interjected something above.
Where they put a little carrot and they correct themselves. Just a minute, we'll get there. We'll get there, Jill.
Then the bottom stuff with signatures and witnesses, things, it all runs together because it's on the same line. So you have to be careful.
So oddly,
misses lines, misses whole paragraphs sometimes, just because of how it's read. And sometimes there's extraneous characters on the margin because it sees the end of the next page. So you have to be careful about all those things. But on the other hand, it saves you a lot of time. What took me an hour before to transcribe, say, 2 pages of a deed takes me 30 minutes now to do it. So,
much better. So Betty Lou is saying, I review the names the AI does on Family Search, and sometimes it gets the printed words way off. Well, and it's tricky when you have forms as well. Hillary, let me take this and then we'll go to Jill. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, I see transcriptions on some of the websites, and they are really bad when you go and look, and they're quite clear, and yet they've probably been done by AI, and they've given some, like, locations have been given completely different locations to what it was on the actual record, and things like that. And I think it's important with all of them that we can actually make corrections, because if we're going to just take it as it is, it's not good.
I hear you on this. It's almost like the AI, and I could be way off, but in the little I've done with AI, and I've done a bit, probably more than the average researcher. When there's an abbreviation for a place like in England, you know exactly what it is, and I don't. Like, I don't know why. It's almost like AI is more U.S. English centric for places, and yet there are databases of location databases for the world for different time periods that can inform AI. So I don't know why that's happening. Jill, you wanted to say something.
Well, I've had a number of experiences, but I'd certainly echo what Randy had to say about it being kind of read across the line kind of thing, until I got to a Iowa marriage record, which was put in a line all the way across, and instead it read it as a column. So it was all the grooms, then all the grooms' ages, and then it was all, and this was then put into single lines. So each column became a row. Completely messed up, completely unreadable, unusable, uncorrectable. The other thing I noticed was with that double name business, when I tried to correct the name by eliminating one, it eliminated both. So there must be something tied to the algorithm there that we're getting two names. So I tried to correct it, and it eliminated the name. So that didn't work. So that's been an interesting experience when I ran into that Iowa marriage register.
Yeah. You would think, and it's also, how can I get this sentence out? Come on, Myrt. When you have part of a quitclaim deed on one page, it continues to the next page, and it doesn't get the next page.
Mm-hmm.
And it includes what's above the beginning of the quitclaim, the previous entry on that page, as if it's all one. And Randy did the thing of, let's copy all of that transcription from, in this case, the full text search at Family Search, and plug it into your word processing program, and then do the corrections there. But remember the days before we could add corrections, not corrections, but a new entry on Ancestry's index for census records? We were just stuck. And then now we can add the correct line, but it becomes a second line for that one entry. That's not full text search, but what I'm saying is the correctability used to not be there. So perhaps correctability, which isn't there now in full text search, is something that can show up in the future. Because if Bill and I are working the same lines, now that he's a cousin, well, we're not actually cousins, we're comrade at arms. But if we're working the same records and he gets there before I do, I would really appreciate his improvement on the transcription. So let's see. Kyla is saying, be sure to click and give Family Search your comments. They really do read them and pay attention. Remember, it's really kind of smart that Family Search, which is Church Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is paying attention and incorporating things that the computer techie people, students at Brigham Young University, which is a church university, are doing, because that's their practicum. That's the students' practicum. Are we thankful that they get to practice and dream up tools for us? That's just wonderful. So it kills two birds with one stone. The kids are learning, and boy, anybody even 50 years old is a kid to me now. Yeah. Marcia's saying we are thankful for it. I doubt I would have found it. I'd have found many things otherwise. I think that was the big impact that Randy noted, was he is finding, how extensive Randy's research is. Anybody else want to talk about full text search? And has Rick arrived yet? I can only get 10 people up on the panel. All righty. So
I have another comment I'd like to make. That the Quebec notarial records have just recently gone on. And so they're teaching the large language model French. And so this was wildly and happily received at the New England Regional Conference. And I just happened to notice it. So it was a great thing that when it happened. But nevertheless, so I was testing the transcription against a translation. So now you get the summary, the transcription, and in French, and then you get the transcription in English. And so then I was looking at the translation in French by Family Search, all in one column over there on the right-hand side. And it seemed odd. It didn't seem very correct. So I copied the French and put it into Google Translate, a much smoother translation. So as we move towards getting more languages on there, and Family Search does, and Family Search works to improve their AI, then I think that we're still going to see wanting to use the other tools that we have to improve the language a bit. So just be flexible, I think, is the imperative term for anyone using Family full text search. And by the way, Archive Digital, the Swedish one is starting their large language model as well, which will be greatly appreciated. It's not in my county yet, but it is has a number of counties that it is including the court records, which are impossible for a non-language speaker to even be able to understand. The great news about that is it supports, Pat, what you're saying, and that is that that you want to have each platform have their own, and in the case of the Swedes, you want them to generate that by Swedish people who speak the language. So there'll be a much a better granularity, I think, to the AI by Archive Digital. So just to let you know.
Again, that to be able to use AI on a specific website without you're having to do the jumping around to the other resources,
right?
Sounds interesting, because of course we know that Transcribus has the ability to take an image, translate it, and in multiple languages, etc. But when it's integrated into the website you're working on, it just somehow feels a little less scary to use it. I don't know. Frank, you raised your hand.
Yeah. Towards the full text search, I actually tried it out and it didn't work for me, as there are no sources for me to be found, at least not at the moment. For the transcription, on the other hand, the only things that I found that it wanted to transcribe for me were the clipping of an obituary from newspapers.com, and it transcribed even the part of the clipping that are not clipped.
Oh,
So before and after a little bit. And while it was all typed, not handwritten, it made up a complete different town where the burial was. Completely hallucination. And I wish I could simply say as the AI, yeah, you made up an error. Let me correct that. Let me help you. Let me train you. No. Sadly, on Ancestry, that's not an option, and it's
so on
sadly a little bit frustrating.
Yeah. On Family Search, when you're on that page, you need to get a screenshot and you need to hit the help button in the upper right and let them know, because that's exactly what those little kids at and I meant that sweetly because I do love them. Yeah, those kids at BYU need to fix that problem. I don't know what to do for Ancestry though.
Yep.
Good. Okay.
And I want to add, if you do transcriptions with, for example, Gemini or something, use pictures. I actually made my life very hard when I wanted to transcribe something from Archeon. And Archeon simply gives you a PDF. The transcription language models from Gemini and so on doesn't seems to like PDFs. They completely fucked up. I don't know why. But they went all over the place.
This is totally bonkers. So you mentioned Archeon. Let me give you that link. This is well, it is in English, so let me send this out to everybody. I try to keep up with you guys, but you guys, you know your stuff, and it's really good. All right, one or two more comments from anybody on the panel. Okay, Bill, ta-da, welcome.
Thank you. I was just going to mention to Jill, one of the problems that you may have had with the translation from French is that Canadian French and French are pretty different.
Right.
And I suspect that the transcription engine right now is based on French. You know, the different dialects do make a difference. Other than that, my experience, you know, with full text search is quite a bit like Randy's. You know, I think the transcriptions are pretty good until you get down to the you know, to the end of a document and you've got the witnesses, and then all bets are off. But I do like Randy. I'll have the original on one screen and the transcription on another, and you know, work back and forth trying to get it. There've been a few that I've actually gone in and chopped them up to try to get a line by line transcription, just to try to make sure that everything was there. All in all, though, I mean,
so Randy and Bill, I've found that the summaries are incredibly accurate.
Yes.
Are you finding that same thing?
Yeah. The summaries are really good.
Yeah.
You know, it just gets down to the details.
Right.
And,
yeah. Seals, the curly brackets.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's all mocked up.
The X marks X signature, facsimile thereof, and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, I'm impressed that they can read that script at all. I have a feeling that AI would have a really difficult time reading anything that I've written longhand, because I have trouble reading it.
I hear ya. Well, I'm going to share my screen for a second here. And this is the program that I was using. Do you remember this? This is a freeware, pay what you want. It works on, it does work on Macs with crossover, but it's basically Windows based. And it's been around since like Windows 6, probably. Well, do we have a Windows 6? I don't think so. I think 7. Anyway, the advantage of it is that this software lets you pull up the image that you're working on transcribing, and you can zoom in and out of this and then do your correction. You could copy and paste, as Randy did, to his word processing program, and go in and decide, you know, what is this? What is that equal sign? What does that mean? And remember, when we are transcribing things, we put square brackets around our edit. And if you can see the first 2 letters and maybe the other several letters after it are unreadable, then you can put like CO and then question mark, because it looks, or just a star there, the asterisk. But put that part in square brackets to be as accurate as possible. Very good, and I recommend that. I sent the link out, so I think we're okay on that. All right, let's see if there's any more comments from our panelists. Okay, we're good. All right, so we're going to switch gears. We're going to have everyone go in the wings, except for me and my next guest. And it's all good. Thank you. It's just like a roundtable discussion here. So first of all, we've got Rick here. Hello, Rick. Can you hear me now? Let's hear your mic. He cannot hear me. Rick, you're there. I can hear you.
Am I on?
Yes, you're on. I'm pulling you up. Okay, and
but it sounds quite garbled. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a suggestion. Where you are, you're very fuzzy, which means if we look at you showing us the software, it's going to be very fuzzy.
Turned off my.
Yeah. And we lost him. So let's do this. I'm going to do a Wacky Wednesday with Rick. I don't normally do a Wacky Wednesday. Yes, thanks, Valerie, for saying the square brackets are very important. Yeah. All right. Let's do somebody, Frank, would you please type in the private chat to Rick and tell him that I've announced to everybody that we're going to do a Wacky Wednesday so that he can demonstrate the software. Let me explain to you guys what's happening here. Let me, somebody pull up, let me pull it up. You may have noticed if you are subscribing to DearMYRTLE's, let me pull this up. Yes, thank you. All right, here we are. If you subscribe to my channel over on YouTube, you may have noticed that there's a new item that I added. And it's rather shaky. It's sort of like Blair Witch, if you remember that movie that was done entirely with mobile devices. And what this was the beginning of Mr. Myrt's scanning project. And we did the unboxing and we did the, and I found out that I thought he had just 2 boxes of photos and old scrapbooks that he inherited. And in the recording of, and I had to add the word gigantic. I had a great graphic and I had to modify it so I could put the word gigantic there. He brought up 6 more boxes, 6 more bankers boxes of photos for us to deal with and some documents. I love it, Valerie. I didn't notice that we caught his smile. Even off camera, you could see his smile. Yeah. So what we're doing is, and my intent today was to have Rick on the screen with me, and he was going to show us the next step for Mr. Myrt. The first step was to get them all in one place. And we unboxed the technical or the hardware part of the VividPict memory station. Can you give me that link for the memory station, Randy, in the private chat? That would help. But what I'm going to do, because I want to have the sharpest, clearest, I mean, we practiced this yesterday and everything looked fine. But he's having connection issues and it's very fuzzy. Yeah, we will do a Wacky Wednesday this coming Wednesday. We'll make it go live at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 p.m. I'm making a sticky note for myself. 9 p.m. Eastern US. And we will do this segment there. Okay. I still need, okay, there we go. Let me pull up the memory station. This is what we're talking about. Mr. Myrt now has this particular scanner and he has a laptop. He's going, and we have to do it in our great room because of all those huge boxes of things. And it's, but we're going to learn how to do this step-by-step tutorial. This is a 12-minute recording that Rick made, but I wanted to do it live. And do share this link with everyone on the YouTube side. Thank you, Russ or Randy. Russ, miss him, still miss him. The concept here is that when we are using this memory station, it's more than just scanning. And there's a trick. Well, it's a process of organizing what we've got. Let me see if I can get this to not go forward. Oh dear, it went forward anyway. And so we are in the organize, pull it together stage. We will be scanning and we will use the software to restore to its fullest glory, especially every one of the things that we scan. Then we're going to learn about how to share them and how to tell stories. And one of the things that Rick and NGS and so Vivid Pics, NGS, Family Search, etc., did at the 2025, I have to remember what time or period we're in, NGS conference, National Genealogical Society conference. They had a symposium on aging and how societies, libraries, care facilities, those of us in the family history vertical, as they say, how we can preserve memories to have good conversations with our elders. Some of the best conversations I had with my dad were when I was pulling out photos that I had not seen before from my dad. He had basically a bureau in the guest bedroom that was all genealogy stuff. Some of them were his family group sheets, but I hadn't really looked at all these photos. And, he was senile, not Alzheimer's. But the thing was, he couldn't remember if I gave him his meds that morning. He teased me about it. But he could wax poetic when I took out a picture of Blanche in the water floating off to sea, basically up there off of Vancouver, out of Vancouver, BC, because she was in an inflatable boat and his sweetheart was caught up in the current in that little inflatable boat. And all she had were oars. And my brother Mike had to go rescue her. What it did when I found that photo, and I wasn't there for that event, just woke my dad up. And literally, at the symposium and some of the other work that Vivid Pics has done in interviewing different people, there is an actual neurological effect of having a conversation with my dad. There was a neurological effect for him. It did wake him up. And that's what this whole memory station thing is about. So we're going to explore that on Wednesday night, and it will be sharp and crisp. And we'd already possibly thought about doing it as an adjunct to Mondays with Myrt. Now it's going to be perfect. Thank you, Rick. I see you're coming in and out. So hopefully, let me pull you up on the stage. So you're still fuzzy, but we've got the plan. We will see you on Wednesday and do all things memory station and see where Mr. Myrt needs to go next. Can you imagine 6 more boxes of photos? Anyway, thank you. I can't hear you, but I'm going to let you go. Okay. We're going to switch. All right. Okay. Has Hillary left? She left. Okay. Let me go to the docket and see where we are next. I really want to talk with Jill because okay, we did do that. The birth register example specifically, because I wanted to capture. I had hoped to capture Rick before he had to leave. We had a little challenge here. I want to pull up on the screen that example that you had trouble with and show the problem very specifically. So let's pull Jill up and then we'll go to leave after that. We'll do leave segment. Okay, so I do now have the family search register of births because this is part of why we try to do a lot of screen sharing. And I need to bring it up on the screen. Because it's more than just trying to visualize it in our mind, as you described it quite well. Because I have seen birth entries like this where it goes all the way across.
All the way across. Right. Well, actually, yeah, yes. It goes all the way across.
And yet this is the the one entry for Christian. Now, what's your guy? Who are we looking?
She's unnamed Berg down. Keep going. There she
Berg?
is.
This
Right
one?
there.
Okay,
Yep.
so she doesn't have her first name.
Yeah, that's my grandmother.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it had trouble with this, and that clarifies that part of that earlier conversation.
Mhm.
And I did want to bring this up. I just was so worried about Rick, but we're
Yeah,
adapting.
that's okay.
Okay, and it in Salt Lake County records, the birth records for my Uncle Jack are like this. It's a one-line entry going all the way across.
This is unfortunately a 2-line entry, and so that would cause a lot of problems. I hadn't even thought about this as being an issue for AI. I hadn't even thought about the issue that most of what they're designing the algorithm for is for a document like a deed, where you start at the top and you go to the bottom.
Yeah.
And so with this one, then they had Berg, and then right after that, I think there's a Schaefer child born. And yeah, there's a Schaefer born. And so they went Berg female first, Schaefer female first, fifth. So, and then the next one was a bunch of dittos. And then and then it just continued on doing the columns as rows. And so it was such a mess that all I could do was send feedback.
Okay.
And that's all I could do.
Right.
There was just too much. And if
All right.
you
So let's see the problem. I'm going to do the full text search.
Yeah, do the full text. And so your summary's bad, everything's bad about it. So
yeah. First female, it's a mess.
It is a mess. Right.
All right. So
but the good news is that Iowans know how to write, and they're pretty clear.
Yeah, beautiful
penmanship. So so it was really clear to read, but the transcription is unusable.
Yeah. All right. So this is what I would capture. I would capture this whole page. And I'm trying to see where I might, because this is what programmers can do. This is what the coders can do. They don't have to look at the whole collection. They can just look at the first page and see, okay, this is problem B, as opposed to problem A, which is in paragraph format, a quitclaim deed or something,
right?
And apply new rules to this kind of a page. And that's what we want them to do. But we have to give them the heads up. And if we don't give them the heads up, they're just putting everything in under scenario A and not informing AI to use scenario B or whatever they want to call this kind of a entry. So, and it's, yeah.
I just use the feedback button on the left-hand side.
Okay. So
that's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I just click on that. I get usually a little happy face. Yeah. Do I want to talk about this particular page, or do I want to talk about the collection? And then it gives me a range of happy faces, and I always pick the neutral one.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to diss them.
Okay.
Right. And then once I pick a happy face, then it gives me an opportunity to fill in what's the problem.
All right. So let me zoom in a little bit more so that you can see this.
It's very easy.
Yeah, it's extremely easy.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to click very likely. But here's the paragraph where you can type in your feedback. Please do that.
Absolutely.
And it's not even bad to put your email there.
Well, if it's particularly tricky, I think that's true. I don't think this one probably even warranted it, just simply because it was so bad.
They could see it once they got here. They had to get here, and this is the mechanism for doing it.
Right.
Thank you for that.
And they are, you're right, very quick to respond. I've done some, and they're like, within a week, they've got the whole thing corrected. This is particularly true when they have the title of the record set wrong for the documents that you're looking at. The catalog is right. You go to that, and then you end up with
it points to the wrong thing.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Well,
right.
we are aware. They are aware of that problem because when they're automatically things are being scanned, right? And they get sent to them in bulk. And they just throw all of Iowa together. And
Mhm,
whatever the
mhm.
last thing is for Iowa, that becomes the name of the collection. And that's a very specific
Mhm,
problem they still
mhm.
haven't solved yet. So I
Right,
don't know
right.
what the plan's going to be, but it's all good. All right. So let's, Frank, if you could bring Liv, our gal in Norway, up, and we will have a discussion, she and I. Okay. Hi, Liv.
Hi.
So photos are the way to go. You are so lucky. And I'm going to bring up your blog post here. I think I've zoomed in way too much because of the other show.
But I did the same thing that you did. I talked with my mother. She was had dementia. And I took all the pictures I had from her family along and talked to her and noted. And,
yes.
And she could remember.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then
and it gave us a good time together too.
From your point of view, it's that I know what you're saying. It made me feel good. I was connecting with Dad as opposed to I'm my caregiver. I'm the caregiver giving him medicine, or that he's broken and I have to even be there, kind of a thing. It's a very positive time, and that's what all of this memory scanning software and memory recording software is all about. It's so that you can have a happy time with your mother when
and
she
had a
wasn't.
very good time.
Yeah. She could
At
see
least-
it. She could see it in your face, and you could see it in her face. You could see that awakening that I talked about, whatever it is. Okay. All right. So I pulled up your blog post, and we're talking about a funeral.
Yes.
And so this is a famous painting, I guess, most iconic. Talk to me. Tell me about this, and then we're going to zoom in on your actual ancestors' photo.
Yes. This is painted by a man called Erik Wernskjold in the 1880s. And he's been in Telemark, where your Myrtle, her husband, was from Telemark.
Mm-hmm.
So he painted it during many years. He came back year after year to perfect it. So it's very famous in Norway, and you can see there's a small wooden stick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because we'll have a look later that there is one death date and another burial date, and then committal confirmation date when the burial is confirmed.
Okay. So
and then they pull the stick up, and when they want to put the earth on the casket.
Okay.
Av jord er du kommet, av jord skal du bli.
Well, I want to say something here. We have our normal genealogy software here, like Roots Magic or Family Tree Maker or whatever, has a space for the death date and the burial, and it's usually pretty close, unless it's somebody that's being buried at a national cemetery, and it could be months later. Is this outside the churchyard, or is this on family property? What was this?
Well, I think it's the churchyard.
Yeah, with the fence and
it's not the
everything.
minister. It's probably a teacher.
Okay.
Because he's the prominent person, the most prominent person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So confirmation is of the death is different from. That's an interesting thing.
Yes.
Confirmation.
So if we go
English-
down to the record,
Okay.
there's a record for my grandfather,
There we
my
are.
great grandfather,
Yeah.
and he died on the 3rd of May, and he was buried on the 12th of May, but it was confirmed on the 5th of June. We have a different date system than you. We put the date first and then the month.
I know. You guys are crazy. No.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's and so this means the date of death.
Hmm.
This one, 12 or the 12th month of May or 12th day of May
Yeah.
is the burial, and this is the confirmation, the 5th of June.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I have tried to describe why, and
Mhm.
it's because of the weather, the climate.
Oh, that you couldn't dig into the soil.
Yes, and you couldn't. In this case, and in the case of the picture, they lived 18 kilometers from the church, so
Mhm.
they couldn't get the casket to the church.
Okay.
The weather didn't permit it.
Yes, totally makes sense. We don't have that problem in Florida, but let's talk about this photo. What this is, I also have a copy of it. Let me pull it up because I want to zoom in on different parts.
Yes.
Well,
Um,
quiet. Yeah.
I found it in my collection of pictures, and it was not in a prominent place, so I understood that it was not the most important picture of my family, but perhaps of the neighboring family.
Okay.
And there are 6 farms in this close together in this hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted the picture on Facebook in a group for the municipality.
Mm-hmm.
And asked which farm is this, because I couldn't recognize the farm. It had so many windows. I didn't know which one had that. I know the farms very well because I've been there almost once a year for all of my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was Ustigar. The farm is called Ustigar.
So instead of a hearse, which is either a horse-drawn enclosed carriage, or now in modern day, a hearse is like it's an automobile, like I was going to say station wagon, but that sounds too informal. But there's room at the back for the casket. This is a sled,
Yeah.
which makes perfect sense. We're talking Norway here.
Yeah, because you had to drag it over the snow.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it was also dragged across the earth, the soil.
Okay.
And they left the sled at the church because it was bad luck to bring it back.
Oh, that's interesting. The interesting cultural aspects of this.
Yeah.
The traditions, etc. Now, it looks to me like the handles are what help. There's a handle here, which helps them tie this down so it won't fall off the sled. Probably underneath this ribbon.
Yeah.
That's why it's going up there. So it's securely tied to that. This could take you across a small stream of that's iced over, that's frozen over. If you had to go that way, the shortest route between 2 points.
But I'm not sure that this was the time that the casket was taken to church. They took the casket and put it in the barn until it was possible to take it to church.
Okay.
So it could stand in the barn for a month or 2.
All right. So when someone dies historically, like This looks like what? Late,
1931.
say again?
1931.
Oh, 1931. Okay, so historically here, well, in my lifetime, you had a funeral home prepare the body, and they kept the body until it was time. But I'm aware of having, like in Ireland, they'd have a wake and they'd have the casket in like the dining room, not the kitchen, but the dining room or the main front room
Yes.
of a house or domicile. And do you have that kind of a tradition of having people then come visit? Not the funeral, it's a wake, and the family stays, at least one member of the family stays with the casket, with the body.
Yeah. The
24
wake,
hours.
yeah, wake is also used in Norway. I don't know the exact way they do it, but it could be kind of a wake inside the house, but also in the barn. The lid of the casket would be taken off so that people could see the person who had died.
Okay. All right. The same tradition of adorning the casket with flowers and greenery. It's just beautiful.
But it's not flowers. It's not.
Those aren't flowers?
No, it's probably made of paper.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Because there is no road in winter, so you couldn't.
Yes.
The nearest florist was 40 kilometers away.
Okay, makes total sense. Yes. As opposed to in the summertime, I mean, here I have a garden and I have flowers that I could make my own arrangement to put on a casket. And are those pieces of fabric? I called that ribbon, but it's kind of wide.
Yeah.
So it might be pieces of fabric.
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
And can I tell how I found out who had died?
Yes.
The lady with the apron in the middle with the 3 children around her.
Yes.
I recognize her from my childhood. She's called Hannah.
Oh.
And those are her children. Very sweet woman.
Oh.
And her daughter was a friend of my mother, and she was born in 1929. And I had a Norwegian genealogist who's an expert on facial recognition, and she said the child was probably 2 or 3 years old.
Oh.
And
yeah,
to make a long story short, I found out it was a guy called Sverre who died.
Oh.
So his mother is on the right.
So this is the mother here?
No.
This is the mother.
Further on the right.
This one?
On the edge of the picture.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah. And yes. I don't think you have the whole picture because her his
wait, I have to scooch over.
No, he's not his father. He's the mother's husband. Because he was born, the Sverre was born before the mother married this guy with a mustache.
Mm-hmm. That's some mustache, that's for sure.
And the guy on the furthest right, he's a teacher, and he's probably there to give the speech for the dead one because he's the most senior of all of them.
And we would call that a eulogy.
Yeah.
And there is this a tradition, we're seeing this in black and white, and these are mostly dark clothing. Is that a tradition? Now it's not so much. In 21st century, we have these celebrations of life, and if the person, they may have even said, come dressed in bright colors. That's what my mother would have wanted. but historically, is that a tradition to wear dark clothing, or it's just the normal clothing?
Yes, it is. But you see, there's a guy there with a lighter suit. That's my granduncle.
Okay, which one is that? This one of these guys?
Yeah, behind the boy.
Oh, this one.
No, more to the left.
Okay,
Up there, yes, him.
this is one.
That's Uncle Ola.
Yeah.
Well, his brother used to say that you don't, du sørger ikke med klærne. You don't show your grief wearing black. Was my grandfather's saying.
That was his ethos.
Brother.
That was yeah. You know, so there is a tradition then of is the book the entry with the death date and the burial date and the confirmation of death date. Is that a church record or a civil vital records book?
It's a church record.
Okay.
And since he died in 1931, I can't see the church record for him. I can only see the transcription.
Right. Okay. Wow. Is the I think the sled is that typically pulled by an animal or by the family?
Yeah, by a horse. And
by a horse. Okay.
And the other people around there who had a horse, they would contribute with their horse because they wanted to make it more grand by having as many horses as possible.
So this sled could be pulled by 5 or 6 or 10 horses, depending. Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. Is there any significance? Is that just a fleck in the photo that we're looking at, or is he wearing an insignia? And I don't understand. Is this a traditional? I'm wanting to address the clothing style. Yeah. Is this a traditional thing? This apron? Generally, we think of an apron as a kitchen thing.
Yeah, but since she was the next door neighbor, she might have been in the kitchen and just come out to take the picture.
Oh, exactly.
And I can assure you that the apron was spotlessly clean and ironed.
Absolutely. So if she was in the kitchen, does that mean that after the burial or at some point there was a gathering and food was served? Tell me about that. Okay.
Yes, they would have that. But I don't know. It's kind of a science to know everything about a funeral, I found. I've read a lot the last day. And I know in north of Trondheim, where my grandmother was from, they had they met for a whole day when they had a funeral. But I don't know the exact customs here in Storli.
People who follow me know that we had 3 very close funerals for the passing of people on our very tiny island. So we pretty much know everybody. And 2 of the 3 were husband and wife, and we were very close to them. And the tradition there was and these 2 were Samish. They identified as Samish nation people. They were indigenous. Their people have lived in the Coast Salish Sea for centuries, thousands and thousands of years. And it took all day for each funeral. And then just this past Saturday, and this was the last one died November. The Rosie died the 29th of November, and her husband died the week before. And they just had the spreading of the ashes at the water on the north side of our island because that's what they both wanted. And I had back-to-back appointments with people this like Friday, Saturday, and yesterday. But I was not prepared for the fact that yes, the the water side spreading of ashes. There's a certain ceremony how the person who brought the boat up walked in the water, pulling the boat behind, and then the family came out with the urns and everything. But it took all day. And then there was just to be a luncheon. Well, in our case, the luncheon would be at church and it would be over with, 45 minutes later. We didn't get home till like 4:00, 4:30. It was all day. And I have been given Pendleton blankets and candles and a pin and a ceramic teapot, because it was like what we think of as a potlatch, where the natives will gather their families far flung because they're all interrelated with other tribes, and they all come. And this was just for those of us who are Guaymas Island people. It was a small group, but it was a large group, and it took all day. So are we, like you're saying, you don't know because we weren't there.
No,
But that's why diary entries and things like that are so helpful to know.
I
And
know they were very hospitable, so I'm sure there was a lot of food. But I have to study it. I have more questions after looking at the picture than I had before.
I hear you. I hear you. Do you have a tradition like my grandmother, grandmother Myrtle, who we descend from Conrad Weiser, who came from Gross Oshpach, Frank knows where, in Württemberg,
Mhm.
in what is now Germany. And she always did this thing of 7 sweets and 7 sours, meaning 7 sweet things to be serving at this meal, like even for Sunday dinner, and 7 sours. Yeah, Frank has said it the right way. I can read it. Yeah. And that was what was appropriate. You would give your best, and I still tend to do that kind of thing. Like if I cook way too much, because that's a way of showing appreciation for people who come to give you support at a time like that. Maria is saying, are there any foods or dinners eaten at the time of mourning? Any particular foods that might be served that you know of, maybe even in your own experience? Nothing in particular?
Nowadays, or they say they have open-faced sandwiches, which you have coffee along with it. It's very good.
Yeah. We had 2 kinds of soup Saturday. We had indigenous fry bread with taco fixings to put in it. I mean, you had your choice of like everything. And I always drive my little wheelchair my electric wheelchair, and Mr. Myrt brings me an interesting assortment of things. We brought things, but we were not expected to bring things. I had to ask because I'd never been to that kind of a unusual. I've been to their funerals, and what I love is it's the same respect for family. We may have slightly different cultural practices, but it's the same appreciation of family. It's very good.
Is it difficult for you to find my blog post? Because I have a link there for something called
Okay, I'll pull it up.
Beningskurv.
Okay.
There's a lot of traditions when it comes to invitation and what to bring.
There's the tombstone.
Yeah, a little bit further up.
Oh, up. Okay.
Stop. Further down. Sorry.
Okay.
Benings.
Say again.
It's in blue. Beningskurver, sendingskurv. It's in the same as the casket.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, yeah. So if you click on the link.
Okay.
So this is a container for bringing food to a funeral or to a wedding or a christening.
When you're sharing for a special life-changing event, these precious things that happen. Now, you've previously told me that generally speaking, the tradition among the Norwegians is you're not the kind that go to church every Sunday, absolutely, positively.
Yes.
But there are these, it's a beautiful container, kind of a basket, but it's made out of very thin wood that could be bent and made into this and then the beautiful rose mailing, as we would call that.
Yeah.
Beautiful containers. Let me pull Claire up for a minute. Claire, giving you fair warning. Okay.
So there's a lot of traditions in the invitation part of it and in what to bring.
Now, so
or food.
Exactly. So Claire, is your mic on?
Yes, it is.
So you have a bunch of Tonganese people in your community where you live in Missouri?
Yes, we have a lot, and they settled here back in the 1940s, and they're tremendous. There's a lot of them over here, and when someone passes away, at the churches we see, they all come in white clothing, every one of them, and they have a massive meal afterwards. And it's really more of celebrating of life of that person. Anybody can come up and talk about their experiences about that individual or share things with her. And we left. It must have taken about 4 or 5 hours. It was almost a full day, just like you were saying. And I was not prepared for that because my husband was, because he had actually attended one before me, and this was of a young mother who died she must have been in her 30s or early 40s, and it was very traumatic, and I knew her personally, and so it was just amazing to see the camaraderie in the whole community, not of just the Tongans, but the whole community, besides for this one person, but their whole idea and the way they look at things is totally different from what we would be doing.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Ellen. Is that my warning shot? Okay. Thank you. She's saying we have a couple of minutes left. Well, let's see what we need to. Well, first of all, Lee, thank you so much. And thank you, Claire, for contributing to this conversation. I want to do the lightning round, and I agree. This photo of that particular carrying I'm calling it a basket, although we think of a basket as a woven thing. This is just absolutely gorgeous. There's a couple of interesting things to point out. When it was the 1950 U.S. federal census, we used the History Hub extensively at the National Archives, and we've switched gears and we're in the lightning round here. Diane A.C. Richard pointed out, and she just stumbled across the fact that they are going to be sunsetting this entire resource, which is basically like a blog from where the specialists on U.S. Census, like Connie and others, for the 1950 in particular, but that's just one minute part of the collection at our National Archives. They would explain things in individual blog posts, and you could ask a question, and then they would put the answers up and give you links to things. And I am very, very sad to hear it will remain available for reference until February 13th, 2026. I am praying that Brewster Kale of the Internet Archives captures all this, because anytime I'm looking at a new collection, new to me collection, or I run into something in a, what does this number mean on a census page? What does this mean? What does that mean? What does that abbreviation mean? I go to that. And ostensibly, the reasoning for it is they want to prioritize direct communication with researchers and respond via email. Well, I had a friend who was at the National Archives, Archives 2 out in Suitland, Maryland. And we have heard that they can't even staff both Archives 1 and Archives 2. Archives 1 is right there on Pennsylvania Avenue. They can't handle the volume of patrons that come there. And if it's going to be really busy at Archives 2, my friend was working on Navy ship logs, etc. That's where they are. And some maps, etc. They will move employees from Archives 1 out to Suitland, Maryland, which takes, because of the Beltway and everything, half a day to get there and half a day to get back. Because they know they have more patrons going there that day in particular. So keep that in mind. If you're going to do some research at the National Archives, get your questions answered before they sunset this. I will be glad. For every 4 employees, they're getting 1 to replace. And the new ones are not collection specialists. What else? So if you have Irish roots, I was thinking of you, Tony. John Grenham has his second version 2.0 of his surname map. And he was giving himself a hard time because he's worked on this, and he used this picture in social media to say, I feel terrible because version 1 was so terrible. And I'm like, we have loved that work that you do. Please don't put yourself down. Anyway, a little bit of that. Let me send that link to you guys. So those of you with Irish roots will be aware of that. Oh, wait, I guess I need to use the big comments button. All right. Okay, what else? What have I forgotten to do, guys? Somebody jump in and give me a hard time here. Okay, we did that. We're doing fine. Okay, lightning round. What can we do? Man, I wish I knew the answer to that. What can we do to gain support for National Archives? It's a federal funding issue, and Congress is the one that funds them. So if this concerns you, please write to your senators and congressmen. Okay. All right, what are we doing next? So next is book club. There's going to be a slight break for book club. We're working on a strip bare guide to citing and using history sources by Elizabeth Shown Mills. And I'm going to say a little bit about page 20, but we're on to the second chapter. So the link to it is right there at Dear Myrtle Archive. I have to take a short break after Mondays with Myrt concludes. And yeah, it does nothing for interactive feedback, but yeah. But it's not totally lost. I hope it's not totally lost. Trying to bring everybody's comments in. Well, honestly, what an interesting day we've had. So many things to talk about. I want to thank my panelists. Thanks to my special guest, Barbara, for thinking outside the box and providing a place for the ride-on for RootsTech 2026. Thank you to each one of you for participating. Everybody out there is saying great discussion. Yes, call your congressmen, senators. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, I'm taking a break. We start at a quarter after the next hour, so it'll be 11:15 my time. That's 2:15 p.m. for your strip bear guide to citing and using history sources. Here's the link to the book that we're working through. No, that's not the right one. Let me pull it up. I guess I had not copied it accurately. There we go. Here we go. I do want to be sure to get that in there. That's the book we're looking at. And you need to get this book. Your Genealogy Society should donate this to your local library. All right. Nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your not so retired friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.